Morning. Thank you for joining us. My name is Agnes. I am representing BlueBio Alliance here, and we would like to welcome you to our first joint webinar with the Blue Bio Techpreneurs project. This webinar, as you may be aware, is called From Academia to Entrepreneurship, and it's part of the Blue Bio Techpreneurs webinar series, Transferring the Business Gene. So we are very excited to have two speakers today. We'll be hearing from Agnes Isabella Dorich. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, and Francisco Machado as well. And so welcome everyone. And I'd like to now give the stage, digital stage, to Ethan. Thank you, Ethan. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Anna. So just to get started, I'd like to get a sense of who everyone is. So I'm going to launch a poll. Okay, so I'll give you about 10 seconds to answer. We'll get a sense of who we have on the call today. Okay, so we've looks like we've have a pretty even distribution in our categories here. So 20% of you are undergraduate students, 23% are graduate students, 23% are researchers or educators, and another 23% are professionals with a little 10% of other. So very, very even distribution. So welcome to all of you. So those are the final results. So hello and welcome to the first installment of Transferring the Business Gene, the Blue Bio Techpreneurs webinar series. My name is Ethan Holliday. I work for the French Maritime Cluster and BBT project partner, Pôle Mer Bretagne Atlantique. Throughout this series, we're going to be hearing from trailblazing entrepreneurs in the field of marine biotech. That's kind of the concept behind this series. And they're going to be sharing their stories from this really exciting and growing field. And the idea is to inform, inspire, and empower the next generation of blue biotechpreneurs. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank BBA for co-hosting, co-organizing this session within their excellent BBA webinar series. BBA is a really great organization. I encourage anyone interested in the blue bioeconomy to follow all their great work. Today, our topic is From Academia to Entrepreneurship. So we'll be looking at challenges and opportunities facing students and researchers when they take that leap from the university into the business world. And so, as Anna said, we'll be hearing from two great guests, Agnes Isabella Dorich. Good morning. And,
good morning.
Yes. And from Francisco Machado. Good morning, Francisco.
Yeah, good morning, Ethan, and everyone.
Before that, my colleague Alberto Terenzi of Submariner, another great project partner, will be presenting the EU co-funded project Blue Bio Techpreneurs. So he'll be talking all about how our MOOCs and hackathons and this webinar series are going to aim to meet the needs of this sector. So by the end of this webinar, you'll be keyed into the opportunities available through the project, and you'll have a concrete vision of what it looks like when you make that leap into the business sector. You start a career and thrive. So if at any point during the webinar you have a question for one of our speakers, you can click on the button at the top right-hand corner of your screen. So it has a little question mark in it, and you can type your questions there. Our project partners will review the questions and we'll try to get to as many of them as possible during the Q&A section at the end of the webinar. So before our first presentation, I have one more question for you, which is how do you see entrepreneurship? All right, so I have the question up here on the screen. Again, I'll give you 10 seconds to answer. So for those of you listening in, the question is, which of the following best describes how you perceive entrepreneurship? One is a walk in the park. It might be challenging but feasible, unachievable, or utterly mysterious. Okay. All right, so I think that's a pretty good place to be for the most part. So we have a couple of you who say it's unachievable, and we're going to do our best to get you out of that box. Also, for those of you who say, the 30% of you who say it's utterly mysterious, we're going to do some work of demystification. And then for the 65% of you who are saying it's challenging but feasible, that's a great place to be. So our goal in the webinar today and in the project more generally is to get as many of you as possible feeling motivated and most of all prepared to take on entrepreneurship in Blue Biotech. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to my colleague Alberto of the Submariner Network, who will be telling you all about what we'll be doing in the next year and a half or so to make that happen. Alberto, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Ethan, and yeah, thanks everyone. It's great to see you, and yes, great to see so many students also with us. And for those of you indeed who wrote that entrepreneurship is challenging but feasible, we got your back. We got your back through the Blue Bio Techpreneurs project. Let me just real quick share my screen so that I can show my presentation, which you should see now. Ethan, please let me know. Do you see my presentation in presenters mode? Ethan, do you see?
Ethan, you're muted. I'm
Thank you.
currently not seeing anything. We're seeing a black screen.
Okay. Okay, then just let me. So.
Aha, now
There
we
we go.
see it.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Technique works. That's always good. Blue Bio Techpreneurs. I have to say, I was amongst kind of the writing team of the project, and so I'm really happy now to sit here and tell you a bit about it and how we came about with the idea. So, Blue Bio Techpreneurs stems from the basic understanding that there is a sector which is blue biotechnology, which is promising and growing a lot, and that this sector bases strongly on research and scientific knowledge, based especially in life sciences, in marine sciences, or biotechnology, etc. But that also, to progress needs innovation. And the idea of the project is, how do we train the next generation of innovators in the blue biotechnology field for them to be, of course, scientifically prepared in terms of what the raw materials are, what the applications are, but also for them to possess the transversal and entrepreneurial skills that are needed when out of these natural resources we want to create innovative products. So we are in the consortium, 5 wonderful organizations. As Ethan said, I'm from the Submariner Network, which coordinates the project, and we are together with the University of Gdansk, the Southern Danish University, BlueBio Alliance, and Pôle Métropolitain Atlantique. We're the dream team that are carrying out this project together. So in 30 months, from September 23 to February 26, we aim to achieve great things. What are these? Well, the first thing is that we want to really boost, as I said, collaboration between academia and the private sector. And I think Blue Biotechnology is such a special sector because even if you want to create a startup, you still need the scientific knowledge, and you also sometimes need the research institutions to work with you because you might need equipment, you might need special treatments that you need to test a bioresource with. So this collaboration is really crucial. One cannot really divide in silos researchers from the entrepreneurs. We're all together in this, and everything is needed. We want to, of course, encourage students, young graduates, or also maybe professionals that have been working in fields adjacent to the blue biotechnology and want to take the leap to really embrace these type of careers and understand how they can do it. And this comes, as I said, with also imparting those transversal skills like creating a business model, how to open up a startup, where do you start, how do you protect your intellectual property, but also how do you communicate, what competencies do you need in your company if you want to really have a business idea, but also what skills do you need if you want to make yourself more employable in the blue biotechnology sector. What are employers that are currently out there looking for? What is the current horizon in terms of innovative applications? All of this we want to bring to you. And on the other hand, of course, the other receiving end of the project are the companies, because we also see that companies that are already active in the field struggle at the moment to find talent which possesses both the scientific knowledge and the transversal and entrepreneurial skills that they are looking for in a professional. So the first project activity we are living through right now, it is the webinar series. We are in the first Blue Bio Techpreneurs webinar right now. There will be 5 more. And really the idea of this webinar is to be connected with the people that have done it. How have they moved from academia to entrepreneurship, or how do they stay somewhere in between? How did they build startups? What are great examples also of women entrepreneurship? How can the blue biotech sector contribute also to sustainability? So we really want to bring to you these real life experiences that can inspire you and make you maybe say, okay, well, it's challenging indeed, but feasible. And maybe I can also start a path in doing it. Then the second thing that we would like to do, and this is an ambitious endeavor, is to create a massive open online course available freely on the internet, where we really look at the blue biotechnology sector from the perspective of the, as I said, transversal and entrepreneurial skills that are needed. So what we want to really do in this MOOC is to create a course that will guide you through innovative examples of blue biotechnology, and always add a component in terms of like, okay, what do we learn in terms of how you can get those skills that led to these examples? How do you involve stakeholders? How do you create a business plan? What digital skills do you need if you want to be active in the blue bio technology sector right now? How do you need to communicate? How do you need to market your product? How can you fundraise? What opportunities are out there? And I'm really proud of this because, as far as I know, this will be the first of a kind online course, because there are of course courses that talk about the blue economy or the blue bioeconomy, but I think it is the first time that we're looking at it also with a strong angle on these transversal and entrepreneurial skills. So yeah, watch out for this one, because we really put all our efforts into creating a great product. And then the third thing that we really want to do is organizing hackathons. And these are basically in-person events where we want to bring the students and young graduates as participants, and the companies as kind of mentors together, for them to give the participants a challenge, a real life challenge. So we really want companies to explain to us what they're struggling with, and we want to give the opportunities to then the talented participants in the hackathons to find a solution for those challenges and really collaborate with the companies in proposing a viable way ahead. And this is great for both sides, for the participants because they will really have a deep dive into how companies work, what challenges they're faced with, and what they can do to solve them, but also for companies to potentially find a talent that in some case they struggle to find elsewhere. So yes, watch out for these ones. There would be an application process open before each of them so that you can apply and participate. And yeah, we will be really happy to host you at one of those. So before I move on to another topic, I just wanted to give you an appreciation of the timeline for you to see when things will be available. So you see the webinars here, and the first version of the MOOC, which will be kind of the introductory part, would be available at the end of summer, and the first hackathon will take place in Denmark in early autumn. And from then on, we will continue basically working as the slide depicts. So before leaving you to Francisco and Agnes, because I'm also excited to hear about their experiences, and that's why we're here, I just wanted to also introduce you to Blue Bio Match. Blue Bio Match is a platform that is also um, kind of co-powered by Blue Bio Techpreneurs. And basically, it is an open community, completely free of charge, where all of the stakeholders, actors, people interested in the blue bioeconomy can find a home and can find other people to connect with. Basically, through the platform, you can get access to this network, so you can look for people and you can filter. If you're looking for somebody that works, for example, on algae, you can filter and look for them. If you're looking for somebody that is located near you, you can filter by location, etc., etc. You can find organizations if you want to scan your horizon in terms of what is happening right now in the blue bioeconomy. What are organizations doing? You will find a list of active organizations in the sector. There will be a product showcase. We're working on it right now so that you can also find concrete applications, and also there you can say, okay, what's already out there? What innovative products are already on offer? And also, I think very importantly for this audience today, you can also find opportunities, job opportunities, but also funding opportunities if you want to open a startup and look for some funding and so on. You can also find people that want to mentor you, for example, and support you with some key questions that you might have. So yes, I just want to use the opportunity to say the platform is open. There is a desktop and a mobile app version of the platform, and this is where with Blue Bio Techpreneurs, we really want to continue the conversations with the community and really create a real community of people that want to take the blue bioeconomy and the blue biotech sector forward. So this is the end of my presentation. I'll just leave the slide 1 second on more so that you can, go to your phones and scan the QR code. And I thank you all very much and look forward to the presentations of today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alberto, for that presentation of BBT. I think everyone on the project is really excited to see how things are coming along, and excited to see how also this community is going to interact with it. So we look forward to seeing you all on Blue Bio Match. So now we're going to go on to the meat of the matter. We'll be hearing real life stories from this sector today. So I'd like to welcome Agnes Isabella Dorich. Agnes is a Norwegian-Chilean master's student at the Norwegian University of Life Sciences, and she specializes in sustainable seafood business development. Agnes will be sharing her journey in the blue bioeconomy so far, and where she is setting her sights in the future. So welcome, Agnes.
Thank you, Ethan, and hello, everyone. I'm thrilled to have you join us today. Are you able to share my presentation, Ethan?
Yes, just one moment.
Perfect. All right. So if we look at my career journey, so far it has been quite an adventure where I have been intertwining education with real life experiences. So if you click next, then you can see a snapshot of what I've been up to so far, if you're able to. Perfect. Okay. So here's a snapshot of what I've been able to do so far. And here is my first tip to the students. Use your time as a student to test different industries and jobs through internships, because what I have discovered is that there might be doors that are open to you that you thought, oh, maybe this wasn't, I wouldn't be qualified for this. Or maybe you discover that you want to change paths within the blue biotech scene, because there's so many different types of jobs out there. So use your time as a student to find like your way and get multidisciplinary experience that might come in handy later. So as you see, I started out as an international development studies, and then I ended up in blue biotech. So now I'm working in the Norwegian Institute of Bioeconomy research along my studies. And here I'm dedicating my efforts to a fascinating project for my thesis, where I focus on how we can restore marine ecosystems through the commercialization of invasive species. So if anyone here wants to know more about this project or have any questions, feel free to reach out on LinkedIn or on the Blue Bio Match app. And so yes, and then when it comes to my ambitions for the future, if you just click next there, I think I would like to work multidisciplinary in the intersection of research, policy, civil society, and business development in the future. And I think like one key word is I want to work with the sustainability, as many students now would like to do. So yeah, that was just a short introduction of me.
Thank you very much. So a question I would have for you is, now that you are in reaching the end of your studies, you're looking at these career possibilities, what do you see as kind of the really exciting opportunities out there? But also maybe what do you see as potential obstacles, potential points of friction that you've encountered?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Ethan. And also, if people have any thoughts, like feel free to write it in the chat, because this is it doesn't have like two underlines this question. But for me, I think the overall sector has some challenges that also affects new professionals. For example, the challenge include the need for specialized education and training in disciplines such as marine biology and biotechnology, significant financial investments required for research and development, regulatory complexities for product approval, ethical and environmental concerns related to marine resource exploitation, and competitive barriers to market entry and product commercialization. So there's some hurdles there, but I think despite the hurdles, the field also offers considerable opportunities for new professionals, including being able to be part of pioneering innovation, for example, in healthcare, environmental conservation, and overall in the industry. So I think this promotes an interdisciplinary, collaborative environment that enhances innovation, is experiencing growth in funding and investments due to the rising interest in sustainable solutions. And we also see that we are facing an increased global demand for sustainable products. So then that also offers a diverse career paths beyond the traditional research and development roles. And also in, for example, regulatory affairs, product management, and environmental policy. And there's also a lot of opportunities in addition to entrepreneurship. So I think the landscape is quite dynamic.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I think the diversity of opportunity there, and also the I think when we hear all of the different roles that you've mentioned, it requires a diversity of skill sets, really. So from your perspective, as someone who wants to go in a more interdisciplinary direction, what are the skills that you think would be most valuable to develop to get to that goal?
Yes. So again, if people have any comments, feel free to write it in the chat. But I think to succeed in the field of blue biotechnology, there's some key skills that students should start to develop already before they enter their career. Of course, they have to build a strong educational foundation in the relevant fields such as marine biology and biotechnology, including both theoretical knowledge but also hands-on training, for example, through internships. I think also engaging in network and collaboration, going to conferences, and professional associations to build valuable connections is important. And this can be done through, for example, the Blue Bio Match app. I think it is a wonderful tool to use. And also now in the ever-changing global situations, it's important to stay informed about the shifting industry trades, update yourself on regulatory changes, and just keep an eye out on the latest research and market development. So, and also I think pursuing sustainability is a smart move, because by developing practices and solutions that minimize environmental impact and promote long-term ecological and societal well-being, I think these strategies collectively contribute to a successful blue biotech industry. So yeah, that's some of the skills I think is important, but of course there's many other paths as well.
Absolutely. No, I think that's really key. And I think during the project, we're going to have a particular focus on this sustainability angle. How is it that we can work through the avenue of blue biotech toward a more sustainable future? Related to that, do you have any advice or any wishes from the Blue Bio Techpreneurs project in terms of what you might like to see coming out of our MOOCs or our hackathons?
Oh, I just think both for coming from a mentor perspective and a student perspective, I would like all of these activities to promote communication and that like they collaborate from both a side where you are on where you are just entering the industry, but also for those who have been in the industry for a long time, because I think they can learn a lot from each other. So yeah, that's my wish.
Excellent. Thank you very much. We'll definitely be incorporating that into our future actions.
Thank you.
So yeah, thank you very much. So I think now would be a good time to hear from someone who was at your point in the career journey at one point and maybe is now at the other end of the tunnel. So at the head of a really interesting, innovative startup. Um, uh, he's dealing with an environmental problem facing coastal areas, and one that's perhaps become more and more visible, more and more frequent with time. Um, so this is Francisco Machado, who is the co-founder of Easy Harvest, who is a BBA member, so a member of BlueBio Alliance, and who has participated in their Blue Bio Value program, both in um, uh, the initiation phase as well as in the acceleration phase. So Francisco, I'll give you the
Yeah,
floor now.
yeah, thank you, Ethan. I am very, very happy to be here, and in a certain way, my heart is a little bit full to have the chance to tell everyone my story and how I ventured from being a researcher, what I thought I was a researcher at least, to be an entrepreneur. So, to give you some of my background to everyone here, thank you. I appreciate your presence too. Um, I'm Portuguese. I was born in Porto, in the north of the country, where there's lots of seaweed and so on in the water. And I was actually very, very afraid of getting into it growing up. I don't know why. I thought they were slimy, but today you can find me in the middle of piles that are literally bigger than me of that same seaweed. So all this came from honestly the curiosity that I always had regarding life and so on, and that's why I became a biologist. So to give you some more of my background, I studied also there in Porto, in here in Portugal. I studied aquatic sciences, where we had classes from organic chemistry to aquaculture. And that's where I fell in love with the topics of multi-trophic aquaculture specifically, and handling live organisms, being in the field and not being just in the lab. So I was always very prone to do this type of work. And later on, I found out about a master's also in Portugal, here in the south. So I studied from both the north till the south to enroll in aquaculture and fisheries, where I found my playground. There, I really try to use all of my time, like Agnes was saying, to do and work with different things. I worked with oysters, I worked with fish in different internships. But then, as soon as I started working with microalgae and then seaweed, I really fell in love with them because their potential is incredible, and the impact we can have with them in the world and the impact they have by their own is just marvelous. They are raw material for everything. So as I was doing my master thesis, that you can see in these pictures, these were two different production systems that I had assembled with my own hands, because sometimes you also have to do things by yourself when you don't get all the support that you wish you can get. You push yourself to get there, and so I farmed this beautiful species called ulva, the sea lettuce that can be the future food of well, some people at least. Right at the end of my master's, I decided that I wanted to find some work, and so I knocked on doors of aquaculture farms in the country here in Portugal, and I got the opportunity to settle up um, a part-time job at the beginning, and which later became a full-time job where I built a bunch of systems to farm the species I was learning how to farm and so on in my master's. So I always try to find a way that I could be also self-sustainable while I could be having the impact. Today, I found that I co-founded with my colleague Emilia Easy Harvest, and I will also explain a little bit about it in a second. With it's a company that has indeed a focus on circularity, sustainable practices, and mitigating waste coming from an invasive seaweed species. So some feedback on algae, you can use it for everything. So while you're a student, you can think about pretty much, you can touch on so many different fields. You can do reports on the global economy of seaweed. You can do reports on how to use seaweed for medicine. You can apply it for food. You could even make glass at some point with it. And today the usages go up to bioplastics and so on. So you can literally dream what you can achieve by using this raw material. The production is just to give you some numbers, but in reality, Asia has been using it as a raw material and food for millennia, right? But in Europe today, we can see a big trend of using this seaweed for pretty much everything. There's a rise of so many startups that can be really a venture for all of the students and non-students that want to enroll on this world. So this was the aquaculture farm that I worked at. It's like this. I think you can see my little mouse. Where somewhere here I was using the fish pond effluent to farm ulva. So at this stage, how did I get this job? I went to the farm. I picked up some seaweed that was laying in one of these ponds, and I went to the boss and I asked him, "Hey, do you know the potential of this? Do you know that you have so many tanks around here that are destroyed? I could rebuild them, and I want to farm the seaweed. I want to learn. So is there an opportunity?" So I definitely incite you to go and ask, and don't be afraid of doing it. By the way, I didn't learn any construction building before this job, so I learned everything that I did as I was doing it. So you don't have to be afraid, and I'm sure that if you do it, you'll end up like me with a big smile and in the middle of the world that you're creating, also for yourself. But after COVID, things changed. So being an entrepreneur also is a spirit. I think it's within me, and I couldn't give up on the seaweed. There was so much seaweed around where I'm living that I couldn't just stop myself from thinking, well, I can still try to do something with it. So as we developed some work with my colleague Emilia, we founded Easy Harvest, and today we are monitoring and harvesting seaweed blooms. We're focusing on this type of situation to provide an impactful supply. And why is it so impactful? Well, this is the state of the beaches where I live 4 years ago, and in 2023, 3 years after, with the invasion of Rugolopteryx okamurai, which is another invasive species, seaweed species, things changed clearly. You can compare this to the sargassum problem and so on. So I wondered, what were they doing with this biomass after they cleaned it up? Well, they were throwing it into the trash. So again, my spirit just said, well, don't let them do that. That's a waste. We need to change the world. So I decided to grab the opportunity. The species is not only a problem in Portugal, but it has been a problem. It was introduced in Gibraltar, so you can find it in southern Peninsula Iberica, and it is already present in all the Portuguese islands, some Spanish islands too, in Morocco, some places in Africa, and it is choking the local economies. It is definitely a problem. So I incite you all, students and non-students, to think about what drives you and why do you wake up to go do your job. And I wake up to go do my job because I know that first I love the fact that I'm trying to change something for the better and that I can help fixing all these problems. The coastal eutrophication is a huge problem. In here you find hundreds of tons sometimes of biomass that are wasted, and meanwhile the problem is not only local, like I was saying. This is a map that was developed by the Spanish government already. So everything that is in red and yellow, it's where it can propagate to. So I want to demystify a little bit what is business as well, and so on. Our goal is really to have a full impact on what this is causing on local communities. We know people and fishermen that are selling their boats. We know people that cannot run their restaurants because of seaweed like this. So think that if you can have an idea that is circular enough to help others, it's a really good way to begin it. And yeah, again, that's me. I must say I'm not a very tall man, but this pile here had thousands of tons of biomass that usually take years to be produced. And today we are tackling it. We are developing sustainable practices to harvest this biomass from the water column, so that we don't let them strand, but also so that we can supply these new markets that are rising. And I don't know where exactly all you students come from, but bioeconomy, well, you can apply your knowledge to every single sector today. And don't let the seaweed startups run away from you, because they do need ideas, and we are running a startup. So I want people that are flexible and that can think. Mostly they can think. You need to know how to adapt. And in fact, these are just some numbers. They're more interesting for other people, but for you guys to see also, what do we present as a startup to entice some people. We need to produce more. So if you have ideas and you would like to be a farmer, why not be a farmer? You can pick up what you learned and do that. You just need to find a path where you find peace on your day to day, I think. And yeah, just to say that we at Easy Harvest, we're focusing on supplying for these markets, but CB can be done for everything else. Yeah. Again, we are a multidisciplinary team. We both monitor the blooms as we are harvesting them. We are trying to harvest them from the water column like this. This is a fisherman's boat. Oops, sorry. And then we are also processing the biomass. So we had to learn a lot. We are constantly learning. Every day is a learning stage, and it's a challenge. And this drives me completely. And this is why I like to be an entrepreneur. But mostly to wrap up a bit about the startup itself, our mission is really to provide services to the ecosystem, but not only. It's always based on this sentence that goes from Antoine Lavoisier, that nothing is lost, nothing is gained, but everything is transformed. So if you think about your job as something like that, you can definitely believe that you can have an impact on the world, and that is necessary. If it's not our generation, who's gonna do it? So how to start, and this is the one of the final slides, to give you some ideas and how I started. I think I, it is really good to have ideas. Be very curious. Curiosity, I think it's the gateway to pretty much a lot of things. Be afraid. Don't be afraid to be afraid. I'm afraid of making decisions, of course, as everyone is. Someone that tells you they're not, well, I doubt you must be afraid, but there's no treasure without a dragon, so you gotta act like that too. Um, it is good to start small, even within uni. Talk with your professors, talk with whomever, talk with your family, talk with your friends. They'll let you know what they think, and it's good to start also. So it's okay to start alone and to venture like that. But I must say that I've been very, very lucky. As soon as I started, maybe a year after some struggle starting alone, the world just brought me some things, some people. I must say that Emilia is the backbone of my company, of our company today, and I was very lucky to do so. So these opportunities also appear when you do it. So you need to do it, and that's how you'll find your team and community. And I must say also that the Blue Bio Alliance and events like these ones are perfect to network and get to know people that match your own mentality. Also, you have to believe your gut too. I do believe my gut most of the times. There's always a weird feeling, but we need to do so. Build a study case. Um, really find something that drives you, and that you know that can have an impact. Draw it, paint the wall. Doesn't matter. You just need to act. Do it for fun. um, I mean, risks are really inevitable in anything that we do today, so if we don't take them, I think the regret will be bigger later on, because we know we didn't took them. So yeah, and if you really want to be an entrepreneur, it's in you, and I don't think you will give up. And I hope I managed to inspire some of you with what we're doing. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much that. So I thank you for your time. If you have questions, anything, please let us know. This is my email. There's also Easy Autos website if you want to visit. You can follow us on LinkedIn and so on. And yeah, we'll be here to try to show at least our vision of what can be done and how can we be proud of trying to have a great impact in the world. Thank you very much for your time. And
Thank you
now,
so much, Francisco. I think that's we can see the response from the public too. Your startup is uh, such an inspiring example, and I think that one thing that comes through your story is and also your advice is to make the leap. You have to make the leap. you you know, I think that there's a common definition of entrepreneurship, which is being able to um, identify opportunity. Uh, but I think your story really highlights the fact that you have to pick up the seaweed from the floor, and you have to go and talk to people, and you have to put yourself in the conversation, and uh, make opportunities for yourself too.
yeah, thank you
Yeah.
for those
Um,
words.
and you mentioned that you have this that you started small, and then you built uh, this team around you. And I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about um, the skills in your team, and the way that they complement each other. How and perhaps how someone who's looking to find work can really put their skills in the best light possible.
Hmm. In my case, at the time, I was needing to build a business plan, and I'm a biologist, so I didn't really learn how to build a business plan. But when they asked me for one, I said, yes, I will give you a business plan. So then I went back home and I was like, okay, let's do some research about how to do a business plan now. And then luckily, I had the chance to have a chat with Emilia, and she had the skills that I needed. They were very complementary, which are based on management. They're pure management.
Mhm.
That said, you need to know how to manage a company and know something about finance as well, so that you can forecast, your expenditure, what you're going to spend, and so on. You need to have this to be also the backbone of a business, because after all, even the Blue Bio Techpreneurs is also a project. So there's someone also thinking about this as everyone, right? Like it's quite necessary. However, that's not enough in my point of view. I think there's a lot of mission. Like someone, they need to feel the same as you do in a way,
Yeah.
especially in a startup. And in my startup, in our startup, we're a team of two people, right? Full-time job, right now, but we collaborate with many other partners, from the academia to other companies,
Mm.
local communities, restaurants, and so on. And there's always a common point between all of them, which is a common interest. I need the problem fixed. I need seaweed to do plastic or yarn. I need this to do that. Well, okay. And I feel like here in the middle, we're both now managing and attracting these same needs for the major goal, which is to actually have an impact and be able also to sustain ourselves, to grow it, to be able to hire people that want to work in jobs like ours, and they would like also to settle in Portugal, for example, which is at least here it's an issue. um, there was a lack, there was a void of so many of companies and job opportunities
Mm.
also. So I had to create, I
Yeah.
had to search for it too. So those
Okay.
skills are there, but there's a lot of identity. You need to really want to do it after all, and then yeah, I got to know yourself also. That's also something.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And we actually have some questions about this this side of connecting with your local partners, connecting with your market. So we have a question from Vladimir. Says, excellent presentation and congrats for your entrepreneur story. Uh, can you tell us more about your business model and how you survive in the market? And someone else asked concretely, who are your clients? Uh, who are Easy
Mhm.
Harvest clients?
Yeah, we are a biomass supplier. That's what we're doing right now. Inside our business model, we can harvest the biomass from the water column. That can be of a support to local governments as well. But I find that there's a need for the biomass, so that's where we're currently focusing. It's on harvesting, being sustainable, doing it, getting it's a lot of biomass. We need to harvest a lot at the same time with a very, very low impact. So we're actually using aquaculture technology that was used to transport other animals live and so on. So we don't damage anything that we do. We're only targeting these floating seaweeds. So that's one part of the job. There's more to be done, but right now we can't. And clients are basically anyone that can use the biomass. I think I'd shown in the presentation before where we can go up to. We're not using it for food, but I believe this is raw material for everything else. From the biorefinery concepts to the people that are then making plastic, dye, well, you name it. We are building the supply chain. We are building the logistics that is necessary so that the biomass is not wasted and that, well, the industry can also grow. That's where we stand right now.
Great. All right. Well, uh, thank you so much for your time. Before we go, I'd like to um, yes. So I'd like to uh, remind everyone that if you'd like to continue the conversation, you can uh, join us all on Blue Bio Match. Um, so again, this is a great and growing network where you can meet up with mentors, employment opportunities, um, uh, enjoy this list of upcoming events and a showcase of blue bioeconomy technologies. Um, and also the Blue Bio Techpreneurs project partners are on this site. Um, we have our events coming up that will be posted in this space. So the next things to look forward to are the hackathon in Denmark, which is coming up at the end of the fall, and the excuse me the end of the summer, and also the MOOC, which is coming up in summer. And then our next webinar, which will be focusing on how to build a startup, will be held on the 23rd of April. So it's a Tuesday at 11 o'clock. So um, you can save the date, and the information for that event will be up very soon. All right, so Agnes and Francisco, would you like to have um, uh, any parting comments, any bits of advice or messages for our audience?
Sure.
Um, yes, maybe. Do you want to start, Francisco, or should I?
Go ahead,
Um,
Agnes.
yes, I think it's to not be afraid to think outside the box of what possibilities are out there. And I think in the realm of entrepreneurship, like now, we really need people who have diverse skills. So, for example, I learned from my time in Catapult, which is a venture capital investment firm that they don't invest in the best ideas. They invest in the best teams. So I think it's great to find a good team of multidisciplinary people. So yeah, that's my closing remark.
It's a really good remark, Agnes. Mine is thank you, and if you want to be entrepreneur, just dare yourself. Just give yourself the chance. That's all.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Francisco, and so much, Agnes, for sharing your time with us. And I think we've had a great audience too. And of course, we'd love to see everyone back on the 23rd for another round of experience sharing and questions and answers with trailblazers in this field. So thank you, everyone, and have an excellent day. And thank you to BBA as well for co-hosting.
Of
It's been a
course.
lot of
Thank you
fun.
everyone for attending.